They just look scary, I promise you.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Thank you. Kia ora katoa. Yeah, Andrew says you look scary, but I do a number of these talks, probably 3 or 4 every year, around various churches. And I must say, probably in the 10 years I've been doing these, you guys would be the most friendly church I've been to. So well done, guys. It's really cool. Yeah, as Andrew said, I'm Dave Harris, South Island born and bred. I grew up, I left school, went straight into banking. I did accounting at high school, and I quite enjoyed high school. I left at the end of the sixth form, or for the younger ones, year 12. School didn't really do it for me. I mean, I really wanted to ski and play basketball, but they weren't going to pay. But I ended up getting a job in the bank, and I did 30 odd years in the bank. I came to Nelson in 93, became a rural bank manager, and looked after farmers, predominantly from Mapua down to Murchison and up to the lakes, but a little bit around this area. In about around 2004, I started to have my first midlife crisis, really asking the question, what did God want me to be doing? I was with the National Bank. Rabobank came to town, so I thought, change is good as a holiday. So I went to Rabobank and worked for them for 8 years. But really, after the global financial crisis happened, it was more about the numbers than the people, and my heart was really for the people. So in 2012, I left banking, lived off my kids' inheritance for a wee while, did a bit of grape pruning, and then Christians Against Poverty came across our radar through my church, Hope Community Church in Ranzau Road. I became a CAP money coach, which is a 3-week course where we teach people how to budget, how to set up their finances and how to maintain their finances. So it's a 3-week course. Angela Cozy runs them through the Mott Baptist, and I believe she's got one coming up. So CAP money courses are really cool. It's a bit like not everyone. A lot of people have chainsaws or kitchen knives. They all need to be sharpened. And doing a CAP money course is just sharpening the saw. You'll go along, you'll get refreshed, you'll get encouraged, and you never know. You may be able to tithe more to the church or to other people. So after about a year of that, I really realised that in Nelson, with high rentals, low incomes, that people were really struggling. But in Nelson, we've got this really white middle class mask that we put up. As Andrew said, we don't talk about finances, that sort of thing. So people were really struggling. So in 2014, I became a CAP debt coach. And I really love the name debt coach, because our job is actually to help coach our clients through to financial literacy. 2020, was that when we first had COVID? That year, we brought on Stephanie Bryant from Tasman Church, and Steph has been representing CAP in sort of the Tasman and Motueka area. And then about 3 years ago, Teresa Hosey, who's here with me today, she is a member of Hills Community Church, and she's come on board, and she's been with us now obviously for 3 years, and she helps me predominantly in the Richmond, Stoke, Nelson area. What are we seeing at the moment? Since the start of last year, probably a 25% increase in number of people putting their hand up, asking for help, which is really cool that people are putting their hands up and not just putting their heads in the sand. So, go to the slideshow, please. So Christians Against Poverty, or commonly known as CAP, was set up in the UK in 1996 by a gentleman, John Kirkby. This is his book here, and there'll be one at the back of the church afterwards if anyone wants to read it. And I will be getting some more for you. Unfortunately, the courier didn't arrive in time. So since 2007, starting in New Zealand, it's been 2,426 people, households, whatever you want to, some are families and some are individuals, have gone from hardship to living debt-free. We've had 1,430 people give their life to the Lord or ask Jesus into their life through that process. And 142 churches at various times have been running CAP Money courses. So next Sunday we're celebrating 10 years anniversary of CAP in the Tasman region. And it's really exciting. We've had 51 households go debt-free in that period. The average household takes sort of 3 years to become debt-free, and it's a process. If you want, next slide. Yes. Yeah, so it's a 3-year cycle. Some people do it a wee bit quicker, some a bit slower. But basically what we do is it's a 3-visit process. I liken myself, Teresa and Steph, as sort of hunters and gatherers. We go out, meet the clients at their place. We talk about how CAP can help them repay their debt. And we take a supporter along with us. Bettina here has been helping Steph with a couple of clients lately. And it's a really cool opportunity to be able to get in and talk to clients one-on-one in their households and get to know them. When I first joined CAP, I did a Zoom call with the team up in Auckland, and they were just sort of asking me how I'd go and things like that. And I said, look, I was a real banker. I've had people sitting in front of me crying because their cash flows have just been blown out and they're going to be going backwards. And one of the guys said, the debt is the means for us to get in front of them and to share the hope and the gospel. Most of our clients have got hundreds, probably thousands of friends on Facebook, and they see them all doing really well, and they feel really lonely, isolated, and let down. And when we meet with them, it's often the first time someone's ever told them they're doing well or have hope. I remember a young solo mum, 2 kids, both fathers were in prison. She had a protection order against her father. So she'd had a really tough life, and she was really hard on herself. And I just said to her, I said, you're doing well. And she sort of went, yeah, right, But the things that she was controlling, she was doing them really well. The kids were polite, they were well dressed, the house was tidy, She was being a good mum, but she was comparing herself with these people that she saw on Facebook and things like that. So it was really cool. She's now debt-free, and just to take her through that process. Later on, we'll see a video of one of our local clients, and that really, just really summarised the story. Next slide, please. So part of today is I just want to share how you guys can be involved, say, with CAP as well. So I'm going to have to look at the screen because I left my notes at home. But if we go to the scripture, we go to Mark 10, 46 to 52. Then they came to Jericho. As Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city, a blind man, Bartimaeus, which means son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, Jesus, son of David, have mercy on me. Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet. But he shouted all the more, Son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus stopped and said, call him. Next slide, please. So they called to the blind man, cheer up, on your feet, he's calling you. Thrown his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. What do you want me to do for you? Jesus asked him. The blind man said, Rabbi, I want to see. Go, said Jesus, your faith has healed you. Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. Now this is the sort of model that we use at CAP, and there's sort of 4 points here that really stick out to me in this scripture. Jesus, he was on the way to Jerusalem. He knew where he was going. He knew what was going to happen. The crowds were there. They're out with their palms. They were shouting, calling out to him and praising him and, that sort of thing. He was sort of, I suppose, a bit like a rock star, He was going down the road, and this blind man on the side of the street that people walk past every day and ignored him because he'd been blind for life, Jesus stopped. He asked him what he needed. Jesus listened to what he needed, and he offered him hope and healed him. And that's what we do at CAP. And my challenge to you in the congregation later on will be to go out and be like Jesus was to Bartimaeus, to look to your neighbour and say, that person that I rushed past, can I just stop and talk to them? Do I have to get home as quickly? Do I have to get on to the next task? Can I take some time to spend with people? Because in the moment, our community is in a real dark place. All the pillars of our society are falling to pieces. In America, we've got 2 guys running for president, and a lot of people think they're half-wits. I'm not sure, anyway. But the UK have gone through a major political change. We had a Labor government that people weren't happy with. Now we've got a National government people aren't happy with. The things that people look in society to the leaders, people are becoming apathetic towards things. But the one thing that we've got is Jesus, who's the same yesterday, the same today, and the same tomorrow. And this is the hope that we can bring to people. So, next slide, please. Oops, sorry, no, we'll go back, and we're just going to play Sarah's video now, and then I'll talk to that.
I was working as a hairdresser in Hamilton. I developed carpal tunnel. I actually lost full capability of my hands to be able to return to hairdressing. Mentally, it took a huge toll because I'd lost the one thing that I was so passionate about and was building a future. And when it came to the debt repayments, I just freaked out. I couldn't do it. The pressures of people trying to contact me all the time just would stop answering calls. I got sick of opening letters, wanting to have good meals for the kids, and I guess not being able to afford the right foods. I started to feel quite ashamed, and I ended up hitting rock bottom. At the time, I lost the sort of passion to want to be a parent because I didn't think I could parent, especially in the mental state that I was in. There was a sort of turning point for me where I had just decided, I just can't be here anymore. The kids will be better off with my family. I felt like I'd failed as a mum. I have a close childhood friend. I messaged her and I'd said to her, this is goodbye. She organised me all this amazing help with psychologists, organisations in Nelson that help with mental health. I heard about CAP from my counsellor. The first call that I made to CAP, I was definitely nervous, not only for talking to someone who was Christian, but also the facing of who I really owed. All the negative thinking I had about not being worth it or not capable started changing when I started to do something about things. The next step was when Dave, my CAP coach, came and met me for the first time. He was real honest and real about things. At the end of our time together, he'd asked if he could pray for me. One of the things he prayed about was for there to be a time that my boys will come back into my care and for us to have, a healthy, loving house. And at the time, it was sort of that is my goal, and knowing that this is part of that step to get those kids back to me. Things in me mentally improved, I could breathe. When I had my next appointment, to have someone say, we've worked it out and it's going to be this many years and you'll be out of it, that was just wow, there was so much hope that I had. I wasn't fearful anymore. All the wraparound support that I received while working with CAP was just mind-blowing. It wasn't just about we're just working with money and we're just doing budgets. It made me feel supported as a whole. It got to the point where I was ready to have the boys come live with me. Dave had talked to me about a camp for clients. I was really excited because we've never really had a holiday While on camp, we had a worship service where the topic was grace, something that I didn't know anything about. I guess it resonated with me in the sense that there were things in my life that I have regret or have guilt or shame about, but to sort of hear that there's hope for being forgiven for all of that. I remember sitting there, got this feeling in me, and it's hard to explain, but when I got that feeling in me, I knew it meant something. And that's when I decided that I wanted to become a Christian, let Jesus into my life. It just flooded me and it felt right. Wasn't long after the camp, I became debt-free. I remember my cheeks hurting because I was just smiling so much because it was unreal. I was so excited, even excited right now, thinking about that phone call. I think seeing the benefit now too, now that I don't have debt, the benefit for my kids pushes me to keep making better choices. Getting to drive to the beach, not having to worry about petrol. The other week we went and got frozen yogurts. I'm just reminded in those moments that, wow, you're not in debt anymore. You can do this without feeling guilty. And, I don't know if other people understand, but for me, they were big moments. I'm definitely more optimistic about the possibilities. Having a head that's clearer, that isn't worrying about finances all the time. Now I'm at the end of a 3-year degree for counselling to be able to help people in all aspects of their life. Since making the commitment, my faith's definitely grown. Attending church every week, that's something that has just added another element of awesomeness into my life and my kids' lives. Without CAP, I'd be in such a different situation right now. I wouldn't have my kids, I wouldn't have a house. I just want to create just a loving home. That's all I want. And I think that's all any mum or dad wants.
Yeah, so Sarah's story, it really touches your heart, doesn't it? As I said, my job is a hunter and gatherer, so I took Sarah through the process, that first appointment, where we explained how CAP works from her, through the second appointment, where we get all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle out, i.e. her income, her expenses, her debts and that sort of thing. Then our head office team deal with all her creditors and help her repay her debt through her own funds. So my role sort of finishes at the end of the third visit, but that's where my supporters step in. They become walk alongside her, and as we know, for people to come to faith, they need sort of 4 or 5 connections usually, and that's what we are really trying to do with our CAP team in the Tasman region, is just create more opportunities to get in front of these people and share the hope and give these people hope. You saw, obviously that was a reenactment because she was up in Huntly when she texted a friend, but she was filmed at the Tahuna Beach. Just to hear that emotion as she reflected on sending that message to her friend that she was going to end her life. 67% of our clients blame financial pressure for relationship breakdown, and a third of our clients have either attempted or contemplated suicide. So financial pressure has a big impact on mental health and on people. And what we do is, the debt still stays with the client, but we take over the relationship with the creditor so that Sarah and the Lights can focus on being the mum that God created them to be, or the wife, or father, or whatever. So if we have the next slide. Yeah, I love this picture here. Our clients roughly get about $80 a month more in their budgets for food. And what I've found is most clients, their finances are a real mess, and they think they're doing a good job, but they're actually just all over the place. We give them some structure and support. And so instead of having to get Kai with love and food parcels, they actually end up with sort of $20 a week more in their grocery bill. And that's so much more empowering and upfilling for them. So, yeah. Next slide, please. So how can you help? There's 4 ways. Prayer. Each week I send out a prayer chain, and it goes out to 125 people in the Tasman area, plus a few friends I've got up north. And each week in that prayer chain, I just put what's happening nationally, so people know what's happening with CAP nationally, but also prayer needs for people in our community, whether it be physical needs, like someone needs a washing machine. Can we pray for a washing machine to come up, or whatever like that? Financially, you can become a life changer. If you go through the CAP website, you can link in through there, or if you want to talk to me or Teresa afterwards, we'll talk you through how to become a regular supporter. CAP, the really cool thing with CAP is we are completely independent, so our income comes from, there's a couple of girls in Auckland do trust applications, local churches sponsor us, and then the rest is by individuals. So the cool thing is we don't have MSD or anything, so no, you can't pray for your clients. So it's really cool. Christians Against Poverty, we are Christians, so we're able to pray for our clients. There was a video there at the start of Sarah's video she showed when she rang through. There was a couple of girls sitting at the call centre. They pray with our clients, and it's so amazing to see the comments that they say afterwards. A weight was lifted from me. It was really emotional when I prayed, when they prayed for me. And then client visits. If anyone wants to support Steph, with people in this community, she would love to have a bigger team of people. And that's the way you can introduce them into this family, which, as I said before, is a very welcoming family. And that's why we can just love people to Christ. So as I said before, the really challenge I just put out to you as a congregation for this week is just to look at your neighbours. There's that scripture when they said to Jesus, who is my neighbour? And we've got so many neighbours out there who are struggling at the moment, and we know Jesus, we know the hope that we have through him. So I just challenge you to slow down each morning. Who can I reach out to? But slow down during the day. Who is that person that I can stop, ask, listen, and offer hope to? So thank you for your time. We'll be around to talk a bit more about Christians Against Poverty if you want to know more about it. But thank you for the invitation to come and share today.